as we all keep saying, we're never really too certain what a pass score is in any one of these grounds. But one thing's for sure, with the performance put up by Mumbai, with the kind of strategy they employed, it doesn't look like a total that's imposing. It doesn't look like a total that should challenge the chasing side, at least at the halfway stage. 135 for 6 in their completed 20 overs. Pollard just bowled the 1 over, but he picked up 2 wickets that would have turned the fortunes of the entire innings. Bumrah, at different times of the innings, he picked up a couple as well. And I think the timing of Krunal Pandya's spell to bowl his full 4 overs was also critical from Rohit Sharma's point of view. Remember, he had Hardik Pandya on the side, not bowling yet again. Didn't matter as of now. Aiden Markram, the only shining light for the Punjab side with 42 of 29. Here we are to assess the second of 2 games in this Tuesday doubleheader on Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11th Circle. Joy and Lisa still in the house. Lisa, your first assessment of 135. It seems obvious to say it's under par. The question is how much under par?
I'd probably say around another 15, 20 runs. That's it. I actually think the pitches now are starting to look more like that 150 mark. 160 mark is like a godsend. So disappointing for Punjab. I did think that they got their order slightly wrong when we spoke about that at the 10 over mark. And unfortunately, Aiden Markram couldn't go on, but he looked good. He's got 2 20s now and a 40. They'll be hoping that he keeps going in the right direction.
Yeah, with pitches like this, you're probably thinking tosses are going to have a little more importance. We don't want that to happen, but that is why we feel there was an image of KL Rahul looking very disappointed that he lost the toss, because he would have liked to have set a total here, or rather chased a total here.
He would have liked to have chased a total here, but even with what he had, I think there were some things that they did which, again, we can go back to that whole question of whether Mandeep should open or not, because Mandeep ended up chewing up 14 balls for his 15, and that really made a difference, because, that kind of result up front, if you can't convert, and even Rahul, 21 of 22, both those openers did nothing for them. And I think part of it was the way Rohit Sharma used Krunal Pandya, just making sure that he could get his 4 overs across. And it's the other thing that you will have to talk about, and I think Lisa has something to say before that, is the fact that this Punjab batting order is shorter than the miniskirts in the 60s.
Good one, Joy. I actually think, like Nicholas Puran, I think he's had a long rope, hasn't he? He's been given quite a few opportunities and he's just not taking it. I mean, when you're an international batter, you have to make your mark. Otherwise, they need to probably move on. And, do you give another opportunity to a Fabian Allen potentially? It gives you a bit more of that spin option. I think they're the discussions that the Punjab coaching team will kind of go through after this game is finished.
Yeah, because selection options is going to be the issue. Obviously, Gale didn't play at the very start, and he came in. So the question is, if you have to have Gale, do you want him to play in a favoured spot? Joy, we talked about this earlier. We saw his numbers. Gale at the top, 1 or 2, explosive. Number 3 comes down, strike rate and average. And of course, 4 is a non-starter.
Yeah, absolutely. And the first shot that he hit in anger, the shot that he really hit in anger, he holed out. So it was one of those days where, he wasn't happy. And my point is that if you play a guy like Gale, make him fully happy. Don't say, okay, I'll give you this much, but I won't give you this. Okay, you're Gale, you're coming in, you come in, take over Mike Raval's role, play it there, because he can accelerate. The problem with Mandeep is that I understand why they want to play Mandeep up front, but because they sometimes feel that he doesn't have the power to be able to hit towards the end. He just doesn't have the physical power to hit, muscle the ball out of the ground towards the end. So play him early. But I mean, that logic does not work for him, because one guy doesn't work that well at 6 doesn't mean you take away one of the greatest openers in T20 cricket and place him in a different position. So those are the kind of things that Punjab will look at. And, I was looking down this analysis and I was looking, Harpreet Brar has played 23 T20 matches of various varieties. He scored 123 runs. Now, forget his average. His average is in the 20s. But what it tells you if he scored 123 runs is he's not batting anywhere in the top 7 or 8 for whatever, even for his state side. Similarly, Nathan Ellis, 33 odd matches, 113 runs. These guys shouldn't be batting at 7 and 8. That's my big problem. How can players like this be batting at 7 and 8? Usually, any guy who's playing in the IPL or a tournament of that quality, if he's batting here at 6 or 7, he's normally batting a 4 or 5 in this state. And I think it just shows you that the batting order is extremely limited at this point in time.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. But it is probably a mind game as well. There are many ways you can get Gale out. Some people talk about the off spin going away from him, get him an off spin in nice and early. They did that in the CPL. The other way, of course, is play a mind game against him. And I think Pollard on was not about saying Pollard's got this great delivery, he can get Gale out. It's Gale looking at him saying, oh, you're my friend, aren't you, from the Caribbean? I'm going to be able to hit you. That was it.
Yeah, there seems to be a nice little rivalry that happens with all of the West Indian guys when you talk about the IPL. I mean, DJ Bravo versus Pollard. Oh, it's on. Like, they want to take each other out, or they want to hit them out of the park. So they almost they forget about the actual match and they just focus on the individual contest. So, yeah, it's the game of cricket is in the mind. And you can move your pawns around accordingly. But that's what I love about this game. It doesn't matter. It's Test cricket or T20. You still the tactics still come into it.
Yeah, well, there was an activity in the Caribbean, Joy, where there was a giant chess set in the hotel, and we had some of the players going and playing there. Not too many people know the rules of chess. Chris Gale walked up there, simply picked up the king, and said, well, I'm the universe boss, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to walk away with this piece, see what you can do. That's the kind of guy he is. But the one who was the real kingpin today was Aiden Markram, Lisa. And I think that's, if it hadn't been for him, we were not even talking about anything that they could have tried to bowl at.
Yeah, and even his strike rate and what he was able to do. He's very technically correct. He plays traditional cricket shots, hence why he scored, I think 6 Test hundreds. 42 off 29. That's exactly what they needed. They just needed someone else around him. The Chris Gale and Nicholas Pooran, 1 and 2. And Deepak Hooda, he's been around for a while now within the IPL. First Hyderabad, now Punjab. And I don't know. I mean, I can't remember a time when he's really exploded. Yet he's still in that position, isn't he?
But Joy, let's just take this point forward. Since Lisa's brought it up, Test hundreds for Aiden Markram. There is no reason in the world, if a person plays the highest and purest form of this beautiful game, that you cannot adapt yourself to just maybe get upping the ante a bit, just a bit. You don't have to play AB de Villiers and Rishabh Pant type shots. You can just be a proper player, still get a great strike rate, and still be a part of a T20 side.
Absolutely. Look at Jacques Kallis. Jacques Kallis was he did that for professionally from the first year where he took it as a bit of a joke and said, Test cricket is a real thing. Moment he realized it was a serious game, he just adapted so well to it. And it's not that he would hit he wouldn't hit those ramp shots and stuff like that. He knew what his strengths were. And today, the 2 or 3 of the cover drives that Aiden hit, they were just so exquisite, Placement again. The first one hits straight, then he goes a bit square and just holds on for that little bit more so that he could place the ball. That kind of quality of batting will always show up. I mean, I always believe that one of the batsmen that this tournament has not seen in his pomp is, say, for example, somebody like Hashim Amla. He's a terrific player, but somehow, whether it was Punjab, they never gave him the opportunity of showing what a great player he was. And he's a great player. And I think guys like that will always succeed, whatever the format.
And when he got 100, people were like the most unlikely kind of person to get 100 in this format of the game. But he proved it. A classic player in every possible mold. He got himself 100. So I think things will change very shortly if more people can do that. But just to wrap up this entire discussion, the story of this innings and why Punjab are below par is Mumbai's bowling. I think it partly strategy, but it has to be execution. You can strategize all you like. Pollard has to actually put the ball in the right place to pick up those 2 wickets. Krunal Pandya's 4 overs. Bolt went for a few yets, but they still compensated, Lisa. And overall, the unit will be happy with their efforts.
Yeah, I think the big talking points are their spinners finding some form and getting the balls in the right area and bowling their 4 overs. That's kind of what they've missed in the past. Bolt, he's good. He's had an off day, Bumrah's back to his best. Pollard will give you an over here or there, and either it pays off or it doesn't. So from a bowling point of view, they've been going along quite nicely. Now, the real question is, can they put their batting together to chase down this total?
Is it the right kind of total they can have to pick up the 2 points and yet test enough batters? They're not chasing 65 or 70, that they get 70 for one, and they've not really tested themselves for the serious times to come, Joy.
I don't think they'll be worried about testing. Right now, they're saying we need those points and we need to get as good a run rate as possible, because see, if they win this, they are even with Kolkata on points, but they are far behind on run rate. So they'll be looking to each other and saying, we'll play a bit carefully in the beginning. But if we reach 65, 70 and touch wood, we haven't lost too many wickets. Let's try and finish it off by 15, 16 overs. Let's give our run rate something to work with, because Kolkata might have missed a trick today by not, they're already comfortably ahead on run rate. Maybe they missed a trick by not enforcing it. And I think that's what it's going to be like. They'll be a bit hesitant in the beginning because, they've collapsed many times in these last 3-4 matches. But after that, if they get a total or they get some sort of substance, they'll go for it.
Well, before we wrap the show, KL Rahul also probably trying to do something a little bit different. Who is his best batsman? What does he reward him with? Aiden Markram. Can you come and bowl me the first over, please? Aiden Markram opening the bowling. I've seen him bowl before, but opening the bowling, that's one out of the bag, Lisa.
Yeah, well, sometimes you've just got to shake things up, don't you? Give the opposition something they have not even discussed.
It is. Mumbai wouldn't be expecting it. Rohit, Quinton de Kock are out there. Power play prediction. Remember, this time I forgot to mention it. I should take about 3 seconds to boast about it. Previous game, 44, 1 run away. I actually got there. But this time around, the onus is on me to try and defend my title yet again for a power play prediction. Mumbai chasing. Joy?
39. I'll go low.
Fair enough. I suspect they'll try and go a little bit harder. So I'll go a little higher. 44 again. I'll go for 44 yet again. Go high, Lisa. Come on.
No, I'm going to go 42. Let's just ram it all in the middle.
What a little window we have. We have a tiny window from 39 to 44, which means we're probably very focused on what we think Mumbai might get. Are Mumbai that focused? Is KL Rahul trying to find different ways? Will we see Chris Gale bowl? If Aiden Markram can bowl, Chris Gale must bowl. Come on, KL Rahul. We'll find out in the 10th over if such tricks are possible. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Joy. We'll see you all on Cricbuzz Combox. And then at the end of Terrific Tuesday, this is Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle.